Ipagpapatuloy po ngayong araw ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ang pagdinig kaugnay sa issue ng pork barrel scam. Panoorin po natin ito, mga kapuso.
Okay. Dalhin mo na lang sa Thursday. Alam nyo, yung Blue Ribbon, every Thursday ang hearing. At kayo po ang nakiusap. Sabi mo, you know, this week has been very hectic. The filing and everything. And the whistleblowers are very, very tired. So, can we give him a chance so that the whistleblowers can rest? So sabi ko, okay, imbes na Thursday, gawin na lang natin Tuesday. Okay. So that's where we are now. We are on a Tuesday. And the whistleblowers are not here. Before anything else, I'd like to acknowledge the arrival of Senator Coco Pimentel. Good morning, sir. And Senator Bam Aquino. Good morning, sir. So, Madam Secretary, we got your love letter yesterday saying na hindi mo madadala. Madam Secretary, this is unprecedented. I did not issue a subpoena because you did tell me, may agreement tayo, dadalhin mo. And I relied on that representation. I relied on that agreement. You invoke the ombudsman, the rules of the ombudsman in the letter. It is my opinion that you cannot invoke the rules of the ombudsman because you're not the ombudsman. Madam Secretary, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honors. Yes, I confirm that what we received is a mere letter invitation, just like for purposes of the last public hearing, which was September 12th. And so for today's hearing, what we received is a mere letter invitation. And I confirm that we did have a meeting where I manifested my willingness to produce additional whistleblowers. While it was a manifestation of willingness to produce the whistleblowers, I'm not sure, Honorable Chair, whether it was taken to mean a positive undertaking on my part to so produce them. It was subject to further evaluation of the propriety and the necessity to produce more whistleblowers after I agreed to produce last hearing Ben Horloy as a representative whistleblower, as a representative voice to shed light on the scheme surrounding the scam as masterminded, in his words, by Mrs. Janet Napoles Lim, so that this committee would have more or less a complete picture of the scheme. So when we did talk last week, well, yes, it was out of respect also for Your Honor that you were requesting additional whistleblowers. But after our conversation, Your Honor, I had to take a closer look at the law, particularly the Ombudsman law and the Ombudsman rules of procedure. And it was confirmed from my reading of the law that actually whenever a case has been filed with the Ombudsman, the general rule becomes no publicity if it will prejudice the disposition of a case before the office of the Ombudsman. May I clarify at the outset, Your Honor, that my sending of the letter yesterday and my appearance now before this committee without the whistleblowers is not a categorical rejection or disobedience to the Senate committee. Because in the first place, well, what we have is a letter invitation, not yet a subpoena. And even if it's just a letter invitation, under ordinary course of things, under normal circumstances, I would be more than glad and willing to comply with the request for appearance or attendance before this committee. But I'm not invoking the authority or the powers of the Ombudsman on her own behalf. I have no such power to do so.
So we're clear on
What
that.
I'm simply saying, yes, Your Honor, we're clear on that. It is only the Ombudsman that can invoke such prerogative to whether or not to make public matters falling under the confidentiality rule under the Ombudsman Rules of Procedure. That's why, if you will carefully see through my letter, Your Honors, it is simply deferring or reserving my consent to the appearance of the whistleblowers named in the letter invitation of this committee. Just a deferment, just a reservation, subject to the position of the Ombudsman. All that I'm asking is for this committee to provide the Ombudsman the opportunity to state her position on the matter, because since cases have been filed already, constituting the first batch of the complaints against a total of 38 individuals, including public officials and private individuals, then the Ombudsman has assumed jurisdiction over the case, and therefore she now has the prerogative or the authority to determine whether it would be proper for whistleblowers who are involved in that case to further elaborate or to further testify on what they already stated in their respective affidavits as submitted to the Ombudsman. May I invite the attention of this honorable body that under Section 2, Rule 5 of the Omnibus Rules of Procedure as embodied in Administrative Order Number 07 of the Office of the Ombudsman, prior to such final action, meaning a final action on a complaint filed before the Office of the Ombudsman, no publicity shall be made of matters which may adversely affect national security or public interest, prejudice the safety of witnesses or the disposition of the case, or unduly expose persons complained against to ridicule or public censure. Particularly applicable here would be the phrases prejudice the safety of witnesses or the disposition of the case. And this particular provision merely supplements or implements what is provided in the Ombudsman Act, Republic Act number 6770, that the Ombudsman under its rules and regulations may determine what cases may not be made public. So my reading of these provisions, Your Honors, is that the general rule is confidentiality of proceedings before the Ombudsman, and the Ombudsman retains the authority or the prerogative whether or not to allow further disclosure of matters already before the Ombudsman.
Okay, thank you, Madam. First of all, you already agreed that you do not have the power to invoke.
Certainly, Your Honor.
You do not have the power to invoke the rules of the Ombudsman simply because you are the Ombudsman. Number two, the Ombudsman is not at issue here. She has not been summoned. She has not appeared voluntarily. Number three, the power of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee is found in the Constitution and in jurisprudence. Long line of cases have held that the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has the power to compel people to come to their legislative investigations. Arnault versus Nazareno, Gordon versus Sabio, and there is a case in point. The case of Pimentel, the father of Senator Coco Pimentel, when he was, si Nene Pimentel, when he was Blue Ribbon Chairman, Pimentel versus Judge Mahadukom. And in that case, there was a case in the Ombudsman. And a regional trial court issued a restraining order because sabi ng court, uy, Senado, Senate Blue Ribbon, hindi mo pwede imbestigahin yan dahil may kaso sa Ombudsman. Sabi ng Supreme Court, hindi. Sapagkat yung kaso sa Ombudsman ay hindi pa kaso sa korte. So there was no encroachment in a separate branch of government. And therefore, the power of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee was upheld. Because of that, Madam Chairman, Madam Justice, and you know, I really don't understand. Pinayagan mo yung mga witnesses, mga whistleblowers, na magpa-interview sa TV, sa newspaper, sa radyo. Tapos nung nag-file kayo ng kaso, nag-distribute ka pa ng executive summary, essentially, nandyan yung complaint, nandyan yung mga statements, nandyan yung facts. Ngayon, binigay mo na yung sworn affidavits. It's open to the public. The public may see it. It's already with the Blue Ribbon. I have distributed it to my colleagues. Andito po ang taong bayan. Nakikinig, nanonood. Gusto nila malaman yung buong kwento. Gusto nila malaman yung buong katotohanan. Pinayagan mo na sa iba, yet dito sa Blue Ribbon, hindi mo pinayagan. Hindi ko talaga maintindihan, Madam Secretary. And what you have done is unprecedented. Unprecedented. And in my view, you have attempted to undermine and diminish the power of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. I'm very, very disappointed. And I do not agree with your stand. I am therefore issuing a subpoena for you, directed to you, to have the whistleblowers appear before the Senate Blue Ribbon on Thursday, 10 o'clock in the morning. This hearing is
May I?
suspended.
Thank you.
Mga kapuso, yan po ang naganap kanina lamang sa Senado kung saan nagpaliwanag si Justice Secretary Laila De Lima kung bakit hindi makakarating sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing ang ilan pa sa mga whistleblowers dito sa Napoles case. Ayon kay Secretary De Lima, dahil pagkatapos daw nilang ma-file ang kaso sa Ombudsman, meron daw rules of procedure ang Ombudsman kung saan sinasabing hindi dapat magkaroon ng anumang publicity kapag may nakasampan ng kaso doon na magpe-prejudice daw sa disposition ng kaso at sa safety ng mga testigo. Hindi nagustuhan ni Senator TG Gingona itong pahayag ni Secretary De Lima. Sabi niya, may kapangyarihan ang Senate Blue Ribbon Committee na ikumpel ang mga tao na pumunta doon kahit pa meron ng kaso meron ng complaint o reklamo na nakasampa sa Ombudsman. Kung kaya mag-i-issue siya ang Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ng subpoena dito kay Secretary Laila De Lima ng DOJ para ikumpel or para dumating ang mga witnesses, ang mga whistleblowers sa Thursday alas 10 ng umaga.